Many people can agree that high school sports were fun and they were a great time for bonding with classmates after class. But sports can have their negative effects on education and health. After research and experiencing some of these negative effects myself in high school, I feel like I have a fairly solid knowledge on the topic. In a 2013 article, The Case Against High School Sports from The Atlantic, they state it best by saying the United States routinely spends more tax dollars per high school athlete than per high school math student, unlike most other countries worldwide. And we wonder why we lag in international education rankings. High school sports has its benefits, but there needs to be a regulation put on sports programs. For an improvement in education and health of students, we need to examine why change needs to be made. We will do this by looking at how sports affects the students' learning ability, their mental health, and their physical health. High school is an important stage for many teens because they are preparing themselves for college. Students need to put in their best work in their education, but sports oftentimes get in the way. Students will have more responsibility due to homework and expected good grades. On top of that, they also have to go to practice every day after school. Student athletes will oftentimes put aside their homework until after sports, and because they are oftentimes exhausted, they'll try and rush their homework or they'll not even complete it. So, student athletes will then also oftentimes be sleep deprived, and that causes them to struggle in class the next day. Gabriella Boston points out in her 2015 article, Teens Are Sleep Deprived, that teens around 9 hour or need around 9 hours of sleep. But studies have found that as many as two-thirds of them regularly get less than 7 hours of sleep. Excessive sports are affecting education quality. Majority of it is caused by a lack of time, which affects sleep quality, which ties to mental health. Students in sport are taking a toll on their mental health due to a lack of time. Students are struggling to get sleep, and by being worn out from sports, this can cause loss of stress. Student athletes are pressured by parents, coaches, and classmates, and any other influencers to do well in sports as well as their education. As stated by Grace Chen in her 2008 article, Pros and Cons of Sports Competition at the High School Level, she states, as teens engage in competitive events and team sports, their exposure to peer pressure and anxiety may increase with the need to win. Results are proven, or these results are proven when we look at other countries. Amanda Ripley, in her 2013 article, The Case Against High School Sports, stated that the difference is 93% of South Korean students graduate from high school compared with just 77% of American students. Only 2% of those who receive athletic scholarships to a college. The difference is that South Korea makes their students focus more on their education rather than their athletics. The students who are not in sports are able to have more time for education while not being under pressure. This can be seen by looking at academics of students versus non-athletic students, or this can be seen by looking at academics of student athletes versus non-athletic students. Nick Robinson proves this in his 2017 article, Academics of Athletes versus Non-Athletes, by stating that some groups of athletes average almost 2.5 GPA points worse than their class peers. Mental health is extremely important to the success of a student's education. Being a student athlete can be harder to keep a healthy state of mind and not just their mental health will be at risk, but as well as their physical health will be an issue to the student. Practicing, or many many athletes will be practicing 2 to 3 hours every single day after school, which can be very hard on the body of a growing teen. Even high school students are still growing and developing into every high school student is growing and developing into an adult, and too much exercise can harm them. In the 2008 article, Recognizing the Signs of Exercise in Kids and Teens, Trina Lisko states that many children play multiple sports at one time, which can lead to overscheduling and exhaustion. Students who get very involved in sports will often be a part of outside school clubs, which will keep them very busy after their school sports, and then they'll even have weekends are full of traveling and competition. This can make students feel burnt out, which is of course not a good thing for your overall health. Some students have growth spurts, which causes them to get injured easily because their body is trying to recover from their lengthy and repetitive workouts while also trying to keep up with their quickly growing body. I've experienced this personally in high school when I did cross country and track. I was a very fast growing teen earlier in high school, and then when I was doing track and cross country, I ended up getting a very bad stress fracture in my tibia. There you can see it in this picture. It goes, the stress fracture went all the way from the top, nearly all the way to the bottom of the bone. So that was just one of my personal experiences with being overtrained and overstressed as I was growing.